Do you know what's preventing you from making a lot of money? It's your lack of confidence. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 C's that's going to help you increase your confidence. Welcome to Whiteboard Wednesdays, episode 2, and I'm your host, Dean the Wealth Coach. So the first C that I want to talk about is competence. I think this is how you spell it. Let me check. Yep, or no. Tense. I don't know. It's one of the two. It's an A. Let's change that. My spell's not great, but I don't care. You know what the word I'm trying to spell, so that's the way. So competence. Competence is the first C that we're going to talk about. And competence is the understanding of a subject and being able to speak about it freely. If you're unable to talk about something just like this, and you're studying on your words, or you're like scratching your head, doing the most, then that's showing that you are not competent in that subject area. For example, ask me about physics or the periodic table. I don't know the periodic table. If I had to do a lecture about it, I'll be like, H2O. That's probably the furthest I'll get with. I don't even know if that's even on the periodic table. But anywho, that is something that I don't have the competence to speak about. However, if you ask me about DJing, like what type of turntables should I use, or how to blend songs together, what type of speakers should I have for this type of setting where I'm DJing, all that stuff I could talk about for days. I would be confident in talking about it. My confidence would show when I'm speaking to somebody about it. You become confident through time and repetition. So here you have the time, but it's the repetition, doing it over and over and over again. That's how you get good at something. If you don't put in the time and the repetition of it, how do you expect to get better? For example, if you're lifting weights, let me get a weight. If you never lifted this, you're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh, it seems a bit easier. Okay, it's easier. I'm getting better at it. Wow, this is no problem. I should have been doing this the whole time. But that only happens when you put the time in to repeat something over and over again. When I used to DJ, I used to suck at it. But when I kept practicing, I got better and better at it each time. I would practice the same mix, maybe for an hour, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. And eventually I got better at it, where I was confident in delivering that mix. So if you don't have the competence, go and study that subject until you know the in and outs of that subject matter. The next thing I want to talk about is consistency. So going back to the repetition, doing it over and over again. So consistency. How I want you to think of consistency, going back to the repetition, I want you to add to that layer. What do you need to do? Treat it almost like if it's a job for the thing that you're trying to do. If you want to become a better DJ, treat it like a job. When you go to a job, they give you a task that you have to do. They give you a time that you need to be there and what days of the week you're going to be there. That is how you need to treat whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, to be confident about. You want to treat it like a job. So if you want to become a top tier DJ, every Monday to Friday at 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., I'm going to practice scratching. For those that don't know what scratching is, it's literally taking a song and going chicka, 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 and making different beats or sounds from it that go in combination to whatever it is you're playing. You have when you're going to do it, the time you're going to do it, and what it is that you're doing. This is what you need in order to become consistent. You need to have some form of schedule. You need to have the same thing that you're doing over and over again, where you can close your eyes and do it with no issues. That's how you're going to start to build up your confidence. So far, we have the competence. Now we have the consistency. So what's the next thing that you say that we need out of the 5 C's? Your words need to match your actions. If you say you're going to do something, you need to do it. And that's what you call congruence or congruency. They need a match. They need to, if you say I'm going to do something, I'm going to exercise 5 days a week. I'm going to practice DJing 5 days a week. If you say it, you have to do it. Because if you're not doing it, you're not falling in line with becoming confident. You're going to be like, damn. When showtime comes, guess what's going to happen? You're going to freeze and be like, oh, I said I was going to practice every day until this gig, and then the gig came, and then I didn't practice it. Stop lying to yourself. If you want to do something, go out there and do it. Do what you say you're going to do and keep your word to yourself. You owe it to yourself. If you want to be confident, you want to walk with your chest out, neck up, and everything, you have to do these things. If you don't do these things on a regular basis, I'm sorry to tell you, confidence will not just come out of thin air. Confidence comes with practicing these things on a daily basis. You lack confidence because you don't trust yourself, because you don't know. When you start doing, you'll be able to trust yourself. Going back to the scratching, I started when I was about 13 years old. I didn't get good at DJing till maybe 15, 16 years old. I would just think, oh, you just put the record on the turntable and go, No, there's more to it with learning the craft of scratching. I started off by just doing baby steps like back and forth until I got comfortable with the sound. And I was like, okay, let me add the crossfader. Oh, I can do back and forth, open and close, back and forth. And then I got better, and then now I can do all these special tricks. But you can't just go from 0 to 100. Or 0 to 100. You gotta go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to go in order. You just can't just skip the line and think that, hey, it's gonna come from me naturally. No, far too often people are doing that, and they get upset with themselves because it's like, oh, I should be having this right now. And it's like, sometimes it takes a bit longer. Some people it's natural, others it takes time. So if you put the time and effort into something, you will be successful. But start with matching your words with your actions. Connections. When you're making connections, this helps you speed up your learning curve. For example, I find a mentor, someone that's you call them a turntablist, that masters the art of scratching. If I go to them and ask them for help, they shorten my learning curve on becoming better at scratching. It took me years upon years to develop this one type of scratch called the crab. When I went to a mentor, I maybe had 2 or 3 lessons with him, and I was able to understand the concept much better. So he shortened my learning curve that could have maybe taken me 4 or 5 more years to learn in a matter of like 2 hours, because he has the expertise. So if you have connections with other people in something that you're trying to learn, or you want to be more confident about, reach out to them to help you shorten your learning curve. And that's a hack for you. The next is a covenant. A covenant is keeping a promise, a strong promise. This is the time that you should get an accountability partner to hold you accountable. This is, if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it, and they're going to hold you to it. Learn to decide to cut off. If you don't make the decision, you're going to have choices. And when you have choices, you're going to be left in the middle thinking, which way do I go? Do I go left or right? You need to make a decision. Cut one off and go the direction that you feel is best for you. Is completion. You have to finish what you started. Don't just say, oh, okay, I started this, I'm going to come back. No, finish what you started before taking on something else. Especially if you want to build up that confidence in yourself to speak about something, to do something, finish what you started. If you started taking an exam to become a lawyer, but now you feel it's getting tough and you say, I'll come back to it when I have more money or more time. No, finish it when you started it. When it's all in your head and you're in the motion of it, don't stop it and then come back to it later. More often than not, when people do that, they end up not coming back to it. So finish what you started. I'm gonna give you 2 definitions of discipline and how it helps with your confidence. Imagine discipline like a superpower that helps you do things when you don't feel like doing them. It's like setting an alarm to wake up early and then actually getting up, even if you want to sleep more, or choosing to eat an apple instead of a candy bar because you know it's healthier. I want to be confident showing up on this camera. How do I get confident? First, I got to learn about what it is that I need to have the camera set up, how to set it up, how to upload it. That's me having the competence to know how to upload it to YouTube. The next thing that I mentioned was what? You're right, consistency. If I don't show up every day or have a schedule for that, guess what? It's not gonna fly. So I said to myself, I'm gonna commit to doing Whiteboard Wednesdays every day, 9 a.m. being uploaded for the next 10 years. Do you know why I said 10 years and not the next 6 months or the next year? Because we often overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 10 years. So if I look at the long-term picture versus the short term, if I don't achieve what it is that I want to achieve right here, I'm going to be mad with myself, probably say, you know what, screw this, I'm not going to do it. Versus if I have this long time, I have a lot of time to make those little mistakes, and hey, that 10-year mark comes and it didn't work, then so be it. But I'm confident in myself that if I practice and practice, make a schedule, stick to my schedule, treat it like a job, it's gonna work. I said I want to do it, I'm showing up on camera. That's my actions. I have an accountability partner to keep me accountable to making sure that I upload at least one video every week for the next 10 years. And I'm going to finish what I started because I want to be confident in showing up on the camera. If you found value in this video, type confidence in the chat below and make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next week for Whiteboard Wednesdays.